All right. Welcome to another Bet Vetted video. This time we're going to be taking a look at the UEFA Nations League games on September 10th, 2024. As always, if you're not subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button. And let's get into it. I got some good bets for you guys today to take a look at in this wonderful game of football slash soccer. And I'll tell you what, folks, make no mistake, this is the best game on the planet. And you know what? This is the game where you can make the most money as well. So, to all you Americans like myself, you really need to take a look at this game because this is the best game in the world. And like I said, you can make a lot of money betting on soccer. So let's get into it. UEFA Nations League matchups for September 10th, 2024. All right, for this first matchup, we got Albania going up against Georgia. We got two teams that are relatively hot. I would say Georgia more so than Albania, but both teams won their last game. Albania against Ukraine, and then Georgia against Czechia, the Czech Republic. So, I think this is an enticing matchup for both of these squads. But of course, I like one team more than the other. Well, actually, you know what? I do like one team more than the other, but I do expect both of them to score. I think Georgia is the hotter team of the two. So if you look at this from a betting standpoint, I'm going to look at both teams to score plus the double chance for Georgia. Now, if you look at the graphic, you'll see that you can catch this on only in the United States at MGM. I'm not sure in Europe, across the world where you would need to bet, but if you're betting in the United States, you can get this on BetMGM plus 180. I'll tell you what, if you look on the graphic there, I have this as a 5 star out of 5 star bet. I think this is one of the best bets on the table. So you can take this, both teams to score, plus a double chance on Georgia, and I think you're going to come away with a nice payout on this. So take a look at that, and yeah, it's one of my top bets on the board today. In this next matchup, we got Czechia going up against Ukraine. Um, Actually, the two teams that lost against the previous two opponents that we just covered, Albania and Georgia. Um, Looking at this matchup, I think the most glaring aspect of this matchup is that for Ukraine, which I think would be the better side of these two, although Czechia's no nothing to scoff at in terms of their quality. But I think Ukraine has a little bit better quality when they're at full strength. But when you look at Ukraine, although they have Zinchenko from Arsenal out there, they're missing Mudryk. At least he didn't play in the first game against Albania, and they're also missing um, their striker. So I think taking a look at this game, I think I'm going to side with Chechia. I think you can get them at a decent price as well, plus 130 on BetMGM. I think with Ukraine not at full strength, I think Chechia probably has the advantage here, especially since they're at home. So if I'm looking at this from a betting standpoint, it's not my favorite bet on the table. I would go with Chechia at plus 130, and I think more than likely that's going to end up paying out. But again, not my favorite bet on the table. I think I give that 3 out of 5 stars. All right, next matchup we have England going up against Finland. And it's going to be played at Wembley Stadium in London. Um, I like the Finnish team. I really do. I think Finland has a good squad. However, I think they play a lot better at home. When you look at their last matchup against Greece, they lost 3-0, and they were playing away from home. Looking at this English squad, I think they've been notorious as underachievers, but I think at the same time, I think they've gotten a bad rap. And I think it's just because media presence on England is so large that this team is under the microscope so much that they received a lot of undue criticism, I believe. So looking at this matchup, I think this is probably an easy bet, but it's not necessarily my favorite on the table just because of the price. But I would look at England and under 3.5. one thing about England is they've trended, the trend over the past, I don't know, over year or so, has that for them to, not score a lot of goals, but not concede a lot of goals either. So for this matchup, I'm going to look at England plus under 3.5 goals. So that gives them plenty of leeway. I think probably what they're going to do is put a another clean sheet, and probably put up either 2 or 3 goals. I don't see them going to four. I think Finnish has the Finland has a decent back line, um, but of course, that wasn't shown in the game the other night against Greece. But I think this is a safe bet. England and under 3.5 goals. Next up, we got Hungary going up against Bosnia Herzegovina. And looking at this matchup, I think this is a tale of um, two teams that have probably one underachieving in their last matchup, the other one overachieving. I think a lot of people, when they're looking at that matchup against Germany and Hungary, where Germany won what five nil. I think a lot of people thought Hungary would probably compete a little bit better in that game. And of course, they got blown out. And then the other one against Netherlands versus Bosnia, I think a lot of people thought, well, Netherlands are going to blow out Bosnia. That didn't end up being the case. And Bosnia actually really competed and put a couple goals on the table and really gave the Netherlands a run for their money. So looking at this game, this is actually a bet that I really, really like. Is both teams to score. Bosnia, their best player is probably Eden Dzeko. Who, of course, is really getting up there in age, but still able to put the ball at the back of the net. And then on Hungary, their best player, without a doubt, is Dominic Szoboszlai from Liverpool. So I like both teams to score. I think if I'm going to pick a side, it's probably going to be Hungary to win the game. But I do believe both teams will get on the board. So both teams to score. Really, really like that pick, and would recommend putting some money on that one. All right, next up we got Ireland going up against Greece. I think this is one that I kind of went back and forth on, but I had to go with the hotter hand, and that's going to be Greece, of course. They have won 3 out of their last 5 games, but I do like Ireland. I do like their attacking options with Sammy Smodics and Ogbeni. Both actually of Ipswich Town. They're playing in the championship in England. Um, but, I got to go with Greece. I think if Ireland had Evan Ferguson in the 9 hole, in that striker role, I think maybe I'd consider Ireland. I think Ireland played, relatively speaking, pretty well against England on Saturday, I do believe it was. But I think Greece coming off a 3-0 win against Finland, um, again, they're the hotter team. They're the team that's playing a little bit better, and they're the team I have to side with. Again, I went back and forth on this. Ireland is playing at home in Dublin, but I think at the end of the day, from a betting standpoint, Greece at plus 165, I think that's probably good value for your money. And I do have that as a 4 out of 5 star bet. So, yep, Greece on the money line. That's going to be my bet. All right, and our last game that we're covering is really the match of the day. It's going to be the Netherlands going up against Germany. Game's going to be played in the Netherlands, I believe, in Eindhoven, home of PSV. And looking at this game, I think, two juggernauts of Europe going up against one another. Netherlands actually kind of struggled a little bit putting away Bosnia in their last game. On the other hand, Germany wiped out Hungary 5-0 in their last game. So I think if you're looking at this game, I think most would probably look to side with the Germans, just because they're the hotter team. I think they had better performance overall in the Euros over the summer. But you know, I think you know again, this is a German squad that recently lost a couple of their stalwart staples of their team, and Tony Kroos and Thomas Muller. Of course, that didn't affect them in their last game against Hungary, but I think Netherlands has a little bit more quality than the Hungarians do. So I'm looking at a draw for this game. I think that's where the value is. Again, if I was going to side with one team or the other, I probably would side with Germany. I think they're the hotter team, but I'm going to look at a draw. I think there's good value there on a draw, and it really comes down to the Netherlands playing at home. That's really the deciding factor, and I just think that's where the draw is, and that's what I think the outcome of the game is going to be. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you again for listening in. And of course, if you like what you hear, like what you see, and of course, if you're able to make money off these bets, please do consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, hitting that alert button, sharing the video. And please come back for more. We're going to be posting more videos, of course, soccer. Yesterday we posted a game on the NFL. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out. I think a lot of people had the under, just didn't work out. But I think you're going to see that going forward, I'll be able to make you some good money, and there's going to be a lot of good picks for you guys to choose from. So, thank you again for listening in, and we'll see you next time.